Hey friends, welcome back. I am Jason Salyer, and for your preparedness-minded individual, road trips can be a stressful thing because you feel like you may not have all the things that you need. But there's a very short list of things that I think is probably a requirement, and you don't need a giant big truck like this one. You could fit all of these items in even a small vehicle, in the trunk, back seat, under the seats, that kind of stuff. So regardless of the footwear you might have on, like this,
okay, that's too much.
Regardless of the footwear you might have on, you're gonna need something that you could potentially walk in comfortably. So I always recommend that you have, I also recommend that you have about 1,000 paper plates. Oh, why is that in there? 1,000 paper plates. Anyway, I also recommend that you have some sort of really comfortable footwear that you're capable of walking a long distance in without getting blisters and hot spots and all of that. First aid is a big one. Motor vehicle accidents are very, very common. Injuries are extremely common in that. That's probably the most common situation where you're gonna need a first aid kit, actually. This has everything from boo-boo, Band-Aid stuff, all the way up to tourniquets and major stop bleeding kind of stuff. This one is from Bear Independent or Refuge Medical. Very high quality first aid kit, trauma kit. Highly recommend you have something like this in your vehicle at all times. And more important than this probably is learning how to use it. So make sure you get a little bit of training. Having a little bit of water in your vehicle is a really big deal because it's not always going to be easy or convenient to have a water source nearby. It might be a long ways from potable water. Like right here, I'm next to the ocean. There's no fresh water anywhere near to drink, just naturally flowing. There's no springs, there's no creeks, none of that like there is where I live. So having some water in just water bottles like this, if you've got a smaller vehicle, just a pack of water bottles like this, or if you've got room for it, a big 5-gallon jerry can of water is a really good idea. Snacks! Snacks are a really good idea. Just having a ready supply of foodstuffs if you should be stranded on the side of the road for a while to keep the kids happy. Very, very good idea. This is just some randomness that I found in the back seat, but we've also got, my wife always packs a lot of snacks, so that's a good idea. A nap. The Rand McNally Road Atlas. This is the 2013. I should upgrade. I've had this one since 2013 probably. I should upgrade because roads change, things change, so I should definitely get the newer edition. But just having an actual map, because we all know that GPS has failed us from time to time. Technology will fail at some point, so having some sort of map like this and a compass is just a basic thing to help you get out of wherever it is that you are. Here's a rain jacket. This is a Gore-Tex rain jacket. Doesn't have to be a nice one like this. Could be a really cheap one. I'll show you my cheaper one that I use if I need to crawl under the truck, under a mud puddle or something like that. But if you're gonna break down the side of the road, the weather's gonna be bad. It's just the way it's gonna be. I also keep some ponchos in here, but this crappy sheep raincoat right here, this is the one that I wear if I've got to crawl underneath the truck in the puddle. Charging cables, make sure you've got those for your phone so you can communicate and call for help, that kind of stuff, if you should be broke down or injured or whatever. And then an alternative way to charge your vehicle if your battery should be dead, your car battery should be dead. This is a LuminAID. This one's a solar one that I just keep in the dash of my truck. It also doubles as a lantern, which has been pretty handy actually. You pop this bottom out, maybe, there we go. Pop this out and then plug it again, and it turns into a nice lantern. So if you are up underneath the vehicle or whatever, you can turn this thing on. It's on red right now, but there we go. It's a lantern, so I can turn this thing on and give myself some much needed light under the hood or under the truck, whatever it is, if I should need to work on it. Really, really handy thing, and it's always charged just because I keep it in the dash of the truck. And it will charge my phone. That's a big one, so I can just plug my power cord into that and give my phone a little bit of boost if the battery should be dying. We should be able to put a link in the description to this product right here. So far, I've been carrying this thing around me for a couple months now, and so far so good. I don't have any complaints. It's a pretty solid product. Garbage bags like this one can be made into impromptu ponchos for the kids. Really easy to cut a couple holes in those and they can strap those on. A backpack such as this one is a good idea. This one's loaded up. I've done a video on the contents of this pack, so you can take a look at that one if you'd like. But even an empty backpack, honestly, is a really, really good idea. Just something that you can carry stuff in, you know, throw some water bottles in there, put your raincoat in there, miscellaneous stuff. If you've got to strip something out of the vehicle to use in a survival situation is fine. Even an empty backpack is a really, really valuable thing. I've also, not that it's going to be really important in this climate that we're in right now because it's friggin' hot, but in the wintertime, and where I live, it's still chilly at night. It was in the 30s when I left, basically. So it's a really, really good idea to have some sort of warming layers, sleeping bags, a wool blanket such as this, anything that can help insulate you from the elements. I mean, the shelter that you're in, the vehicle is a good one, and it's airtight, watertight kind of deal. But if without some sort of insulation like a blanket or a sleeping bag, you're going to be really, really cold if the temperature should drop below freezing. Ear protection is also a solid idea if you've got noisy kids like mine. You know, you can just put these things on and just, you know, be in your own little happy place. Make sure you got a spare tire. Make sure that it's got air in it before you leave. And unless you're ridiculously strong like I am, you should probably have some sort of way to jack up the vehicle to access the flat tire that you're trying to change. So a simple bottle jack like this will definitely help you out. Jumper cables, some basic tools, things like that. And you wouldn't believe how handy just a hammer is. Sometimes all you need to do is whack something really good to fix it or break it free, whatever. And without a hammer, you're using rocks and stuff on the side of the road, which I have done plenty of times. Just a hammer, it's really, really handy. Dirty old rags, old t-shirts, stuff like that, just to clean up after a mess. Again, laying in the mud puddle, it's really nice to just have something to clean up a little bit before you have to get back in. Check all the fluids and stuff before you leave. That's not particularly what this video is about, but make sure you're checking all the fluids before you leave. Transmission fluid, oil, all that good stuff, just to be sure. Have a tire iron such as this one, and make sure you know how to change a tire. A lot of people assume they know how to change a tire, but they've never actually done it. So, you know, a little bit of practice, have someone that knows what they're doing, show you how to do it, humble yourself a little bit, put away your pride, and learn how to do the basics. Road shades. Never leave home without road shades. I don't always wear sunglasses, but when I do, they're made of titanium. I always try to be a supportive husband and make sure I pack not just for myself, but for others. A spare key would be a really good idea. I don't have one. I thought about it after we had left, but having a spare key hidden with one of those magnetic key holder things underneath the vehicle somewhere, I think is a solid idea that needs to be on my list. Someplace very hidden, obviously, where someone can't easily find it, but I think that's a good idea because if you were to lock your keys in your car, locksmiths are a pain in the neck and they charge a lot of money. My truck runs on diesel fuel and vegetable oil, and I think it's a very good idea to make sure you have spare fuel. At least a 5-gallon can of fuel in the back, or even a 1-gallon can of fuel would be really good if you're limited on space. That way, if you should run out of fuel, you think you're going to make it to the next gas station, but for some reason you just don't. I have about 50 gallons of vegetable oil here, so 50 gallons of fuel, that will 100% get me home from here, no question. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Leave lots of comments. Tell me what your favorite color is. Tell me what you think about my big, giant redneck truck. Whatever it is, comments are really, really helpful, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.